Hey everyone, welcome in. We're diving into something really interesting happening in Ethiopia right now. Um, Something with some serious potential impact.
Yeah, I'd say so. It's one of those things, we talk a lot about emerging markets, but Ethiopia is kind of flipping the script here.
Right. And we've got a stack of articles here from Addis Insight, Fortune, and Shiga, all pointing to the same thing. Ethiopia is making some big moves, and it seems like Ethiopians have every reason to be excited about their economic future.
It's pretty fascinating. You ready to jump in?
Let's do it. So, Ethio Telecom. This is a company that's like essential in Ethiopia, right? I mean, we're talking 79 million subscribers.
That's a huge chunk of their population.
Exactly. And 50 million of those subscribers are using their mobile money platform, Telebur.
It's like they've kind of leapfrogged traditional banking in a lot of ways. Mobile money is huge there.
It's massive. And
Mhm.
up until now, it's been entirely state-owned, right?
Right. Ethio Telecom has been the sole telecom provider, wholly owned by the government,
Okay, so knowing that, think about this. They're going public.
which is kind of a big deal, yeah.
It's a huge deal. This is the first ever IPO in Ethiopia.
Historic, really. They're offering 100 million shares directly to the public, priced at 300 birr each.
Wow. So for someone living in Ethiopia, this is their chance to own a piece of this company that's been such a big part of their lives.
And a company that, by all accounts, seems to be doing pretty well.
It's going to be exciting, right? To have that kind of opportunity. Reminds me a little of like when Google went public, early investors, a lot of them saw some pretty amazing returns.
Right. But of course, got to add the disclaimer here, past performance, not always an indicator of future success. Investing always has its risks.
For sure, for sure. But it's still an interesting comparison. And it's not just about the IPO itself, is it? This is also about the launch of something much bigger, the Ethiopian Securities Exchange.
The ESX, their very own stock market.
Whoa. Okay, so now things are getting really interesting. I mean, their own stock market, that's a game changer, right?
Oh, absolutely. This is huge for Ethiopia. For companies, it means they can raise money here, you know? Invest, grow, create more jobs. And for everyday Ethiopians, it's a chance to get in on that growth, maybe even build some wealth along the way.
So this is really about like empowering Ethiopians, right? Giving them a chance to kind of take control of their own financial futures.
Exactly. And one of the things the articles really highlighted was the role of mobile money in all this. Platforms like Telebur are going to be key to making this whole thing accessible.
Makes sense. I mean, they're already using Telebur for everything else, right? Bills, sending money to family.
Think about it. You're already using this platform, it's part of your life, and now suddenly you can use it to buy shares in a company like Ethio Telecom. It breaks down so many of the barriers that usually keep people out of traditional financial systems.
It's like its own form of financial literacy, too.
Yeah.
Even if you've never even thought about investing before, this makes it so much more approachable.
Exactly. It's democratizing access in a way that could have some really positive ripple effects. It could help create a more inclusive and equitable economy in the long run. And I think the timing of all of this is really interesting.
How do you?
Well, let's be honest. Ethiopia has been through a lot these past few years,
Yeah.
right? Economic hardship, internal conflicts, the global pandemic. It hasn't been easy.
That's for sure.
But here they are making this bold move towards a more open and modern financial system. It's a powerful statement. They're saying, we're not letting the past define us, we're moving forward. And people are noticing.
Not just in Ethiopia, I bet. You're talking about international investors.
Yeah. The ESX, the Ethio Telecom IPO. It's a signal. It tells the world that Ethiopia is open for business and that they're serious about creating a stable and attractive environment for investment.
Okay, so Ethiopia is opening up its economy, giving its people a chance to share in the success of its businesses. Global investors are paying attention. But it wasn't always smooth sailing to get at this point, was it?
Yeah, the articles mentioned that at first the government actually wanted to sell a much bigger piece of Ethio Telecom to foreign investors, right? Like something like 40%.
Yeah, they were initially aiming for a much larger foreign stake, even floated the idea of 45% at one point.
Wow, that's a pretty big chunk. So they were really trying to get those big international companies on board.
Absolutely, there were reports of some major players showing interest, like Emirates Telecommunications Group, Orange, but nothing really materialized.
Yeah. So what happened? Why the change to a smaller offering and one that seems much more focused on everyday Ethiopians?
Well, it's hard to say for sure, but it's possible that those early attempts to attract foreign investment maybe revealed some hesitancy in the market. Perhaps this pivot to a domestically focused IPO is a way to kind of build confidence locally first.
Show the world they believe in their own economy first. Launch the ESX with a high-profile offering that everyone can participate in. It's a powerful message, and it could create a really interesting snowball effect.
How so?
Well, if this IPO goes well, more companies might see the value of listing on the ESX. And as more everyday Ethiopians get involved, start seeing themselves as investors, it could fuel a whole new wave of economic growth, all driven from within.
It's like a cultural shift almost, like you're building a culture of investment, financial literacy.
Exactly. And that has implications that go way beyond just this one IPO. It starts to change the way people think about their own financial futures, their relationship with the economy.
It becomes something they can be a part of, not just something that happens to them.
Exactly. And that's really what this all comes down to, right? Empowering individuals, changing the narrative. It's showing the world that Ethiopia is a place of opportunity, innovation, and growth.
I like that. So as we wrap up this deep dive, I think the big takeaway here is this. Ethio Telecom's IPO, it's a powerful symbol of Ethiopia's commitment to its economic future, but even more importantly, to its people.
It's a bold move, no doubt. Only time will tell how it all plays out in the long run. But one thing's for sure, the world is watching.
This is a story worth paying attention to. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.